reconvene. Council members. Mr. Stinnett. Come along, Mr. Stinnett. All right. We're reconvening the special committee of the whole meeting on the budget. There's a motion on the table, and we were in discussion on the golf fees. I think, Jerry, did you pass around some stuff for us? You want to explain it to us? Oh, all right. Okay, it's the same thing you had?
Yes, sir. It's what you just saw.
Okay. All right.
Vice
How about
Mayor.
restating? Let's
Vice Mayor,
Yes,
is
ma'am.
it possible for you to restate the motion since I'm over here
Yeah.
now, so I can put it in? Thank
I
you.
think Vicky had it, but motion was made by Councilmember McCord, or no, Councilmember Stinnett. Would you restate the motion, please, sir? It was
To approve the golf course fees as proposed in the mayor's proposed budget.
right.
Just for discussion.
Motion
to get it on
and
the
a
table.
second.
May not vote for my own motion, so.
Oh, right. All right, is there, the floor is open for discussion. Discussion. Prepared for a vote? All right. All in favor of the motion as presented, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, no. It's for the golf. You're okay. That's the. We need to. Jeanette. All right. The motion that we were just voting on was the motion to accept the golf fees as proposed in the mayor's budget. So I was thinking, and we had discussion about it, and I'd asked for if there was any further discussion, and I was hearing none, and I asked twice. Okay.
So move for a roll call vote.
Move. All right, is there a question regarding the vote or discussion? All right. Okay, let's do a roll call vote then. All right.
Could you repeat the motion, please?
We just voted on,
There were no's and they had 15-0.
Yeah.
Approve golf course fees as listed in budget.
Okay. Oh, okay.
all right. Okay, let's. What's that?
It's a widow, it failed.
Getting punch happy. After 6 hours here tonight, a little punch happy. All right. Let's reset, revote. Reset. We're going to vote again on the motion. You want to restate the motion again, Mr.
To
Stinnett?
approve the proposed golf fees in the mayor's FY 2011 budget.
All right. Yep.
It's already been seconded. It just restates.
Mr. Lane had seconded it. All right. There seems to be real interest in this. It's an issue. Councilmember Gorton wants to ask a question.
Well, I just wanted it publicly highlighted that I believe a few years ago it was determined that the administration could unilaterally raise any of the park fees. And can you confirm that, Commissioner? That could, for example, that could have been done earlier in the year, or it could be done later in the year. There was a discussion a couple of years ago about that, and just it's important to me. It may not be important to anyone else, but the administration does have the right and ability to do that and has done it in the past, raise the fees.
We have not raised the fees in the past. Logan addressed this last, I don't know if Logan is here anywhere, but he addressed this in the last discussion. There is nothing in the rules that state that it has to go to council, but past precedent has been that it has always come to council.
Well, before, it's my understanding that before, even 2 or 3 years ago, there was public discussion about this, the fact that the council doesn't have to have any say over the raising of fees. I guess that's my point, is it can be done by the administration. Are you remembering that?
Yes, there aren't any rules that say
Right.
it has to come. We just, the past precedent has been that it has come to council. We have not done that in absence of a council approval.
Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Lawless.
Sorry. I know that other fees have been raised by the administration, parking fees and the parking lots, et cetera, without it coming to council. And if that is the job of the administration, I suggest that I'd like to can I make another motion while this one's on the floor? No? I'd like to amend this motion to take this to the administration for their approval.
Is there a second? Yeah. The motion, afraid the motion dies for lack of a second. Councilmember James.
I can withdraw that motion, but
Okay.
you get the point.
Thanks, Vice Mayor. I was going to ask, just for clarification, Councilmember Gordon, is it then your understanding that if we pass a budget, that the administration has assumptions of fee increases, that in turn is saying that we are adopting the fee increases that the administration has put into the budget? Okay. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
All right. All right, hearing no further discussion, ready to restate the vote. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by voting aye electronically. All opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. All right. Regarding the, can we move on to the next? Okay. All right. Let's go back to our schedule for council links, or do we need to talk?
Well, we still got revenue
We
to
got-
finish up, yeah. We got pools and there's other revenue questions out there.
All right. Pools?
For the sake of moving this forward, I'm going to make the motion that we accept the pool increases in the FY11 mayor's budget. So moved.
Motion by Councilmember McCord, second by Councilmember Beard. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Are we ready? Councilmember Myers.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I think one of the things that we heard during the Creative Cities Summit is that one of the things that cities need to do is bring services into neighborhoods. And I can't think of anything that does that more so than a neighborhood pool. And so I am not going to support raising the fees on the pools. Thank you.
Councilmember James.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm having a difficult time with the pool increases as well. Similar to what Councilmember Myers is saying, I think this is, the pools is a place where you traditionally go more than once over summer. It's a repetitious type of place that you can go, have fun. It's a regular routine thing. I think although you make a lot of money by charging more money per visit, over the long haul, you'll have more, especially youth, that will be able to attend with with the current fee at least, but definitely without the increased fee. I just, definitely as far as the youth is concerned, I cannot support an increase. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Councilmember Henson.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Jerry, I had a quick question because I too big supporter of keeping kids busy and giving them something to do, and if they can't afford it, then it becomes a problem. So, but I also understand the expense of operating a pool. So I was curious if there was any kind of break like there is in recreation for low income, or
Good question.
maybe the pool passes are for the entire year.
One thing I didn't point out to you and should have is that if you'll look on page 3 of your handout, we're not proposing to increase the cost of a season pass, either for children or for adults. Frequent users would still be able to attend at $50 for individuals or $160 for a family, which includes up to 6 family members.
Okay.
And we do offer, scholarships for families who can demonstrate need in their purchase of season passes.
And could you pay for the pass? Like, would you have to pay for it all at once?
That's a heck of a lot easier. Once you distribute the passes, it's kind of hard to take monthly payments on a 2.5 month.
Well, I just know that, in a lot of cases, $160 is a lot of money for some families to have to come up with all at once. But
we are holding that rate the same.
Okay.
Or we're proposing that it stay the same.
Thank you, Jerry.
Councilmember Myers? You've already, that's what I thought.
I'm already spoken. Thank you.
Councilmember James?
Thank you. Jerry, I had a question about the scholarship question in response. Are those limited, the scholarships? Is there a certain amount that we can give, or we can give?
No, we take all comers.
Okay. Thank you.
And while I'm here, if I may say one thing, as you consider this, I would appreciate you considering implementing or rejecting the fee increases for pools effective May 29th. That's when we open. I would not like to charge one rate in June and charge another rate in July. That's a little hard to tell children and have them take it home and translate it. So I'd like the motion, if possible, to indicate that the fees would be increased this year when we open on May 29th.
Also, I will just finish up my mind. I think if we see the link talked about that they looked at the pools that were underutilized, their terminology that was used there, if you increase the fees, you're going to see that even more because people just won't have the money to go. So I think instead of trying to figure out, ways to do things that will, if they're already underutilized, they're going to be even more so, and more money is needed to attend those. And you don't even have shade structures in some of those facilities. They're not even attractive to go to. This is the pretty much the hole in the ground with some water in it, without a shade structure. So I won't be voting in favor of this. Thanks.
Councilmember Lawless.
Yes, Commissioner Hancock, could you tell us, Director?
Yes, ma'am. I like the way you think.
President Hancock.
There you go.
Could you tell me how one knows about and qualifies for getting a scholarship?
The most prominent way is it's prominently displayed inside our fund guide, which about 3 weeks ago was placed in every mailbox in the county. Our website highlights the scholarship policy. We're all aware of it. Everyone at our pools is, where people might come to buy season passes. I don't think everybody in the county knows it, but we do make an effort to make that readily available. I don't know how we could tell people more. Probably put something on Channel 3 for a week or two, a couple times a day would help. Good point.
So Would it be possible to pass this without passing it for the underutilized pools? I mean, I know
Quite
when I-
honest, yeah, you certainly could do that. I think people don't go to a pool because, as Andrea points out, it's not as attractive, it's not as interesting, it's not as much fun as the other pools. They don't go there because of the price or stay away from it because of the price.
So
We
this-
certainly could charge, we could mix and match this any way you like.
the scholarships are for season passes.
Yes, we don't give a scholarship on a daily rate. That would be, we want to see people's demonstrated income level or their KTAP or free and reduced lunch card and that sort of thing. It's a little unwieldy at the pool where people are wet and we have 16-year-olds checking people in. It wouldn't work well, I don't think.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Ellinger.
Jerry, Commissioner, back Director, Mr. Hancock, you talk about the scholarships, but you say you don't advertise that, or?
No, well, we don't advertise. We don't have money to take ads out in the paper. Beverly Fortune is here. I'm sure if we twist her arm a little bit, she'd be happy to say pool fees were changed to this and that and let everyone know that there is a scholarship plan. We automatically will give people 50% off if they qualify income-wise or get one of these forms of state assistance. Beyond that, they can appeal, and it comes to me, and we consider income step ladders for.
Well,
further
when I
reductions.
was thinking of advertising, I wasn't thinking that we were going to do some kind of advertising on TV or in the paper, but when they come to the pool itself, is there something there that would say that we have scholarships that you could get in? Could
It's an
we put
easy thing
something to
do.
post something that
That's
we
a
could
good
say?
idea. An 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper in red, people will look at and read. Scholarships available, call this number.
That way, I
Good
think
idea.
it lets people know that it
Very
is
good idea.
available out there.
Yep, you bet.
Thank you.
Councilmember, my monitor's showing Councilmember Lawless. No? Okay.
I'm sorry, I really am struggling with this. I was a single parent and working for a social service agency, and the difference between $3 and $4 or 50 cents and 75 cents meant a lot. And it was a way, public pools were a way for my kids to enjoy outdoor summer activities. We're trying to keep the kids occupied, and for somebody on public assistance to qualify for a scholarship, that's great, but somebody on public assistance has to pay $25. It probably might as well be $500. So I'm struggling with this, especially when I look at some of the employee cost of employees and the cost of the fund guide. So for that reason, I can't support this. Thank you.
Councilmember Blues.
I just have one question for Commissioner Hancock, and that is, how many people do apply for and receive scholarships on the average for the season
Councilman Blues,
pass?
that's an interesting question, and the answer is many fewer than you would guess. We probably give 2 or 3 dozen scholarship annual passes to pools every year. Certainly, it's less than 100, less than 50, as few as 30 or 40. I don't know the exact number. It's a relatively modest number.
Can you come to the pool and apply for the season pass and there and pay for it?
You can purchase a season pass at a pool. We ask that the applications for scholarships come to our office for confidentiality reasons and making sure that we view the substantiating documents. Because you can buy a pass at a pool.
And is there a notice, say, at the pool that says that you can apply for a scholarship if you meet certain criteria?
I honestly don't know, but I'll make sure that there is one.
Okay, I think
at
that
every
would be,
pool, at the counter where people will see it.
yeah, that would be very helpful, so that.
so, too.
Agree. And also, I think that the GTV3 announcements would be a big help.
Yes, especially if we're going to change the rates. I think it's incumbent on us to pass the word as quickly and broadly as we can.
Right. Thank you, Jerry.
Councilmember Myers.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Jerry, could you come back up one more second? How much, do you have your list in front of you again? How much is the annual?
$50 for individuals and $160 for families.
And then if you get the scholarship, is it 25 and 80?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And if people are in serious economic problems or both have lost their jobs or whatever, they can apply for additional discounts beyond 50%.
What percentage of, I guess that's not, I don't know how you figured that, but how many annual memberships do you generally sell?
We buy about 7,000 passes a year. That's 7,000 individuals. You divide that by 4 maybe and get, 2,000 plus families or individuals. But we buy about 7,000, and last year we used them all. Some years we don't. So I'm saying somewhere around 2,000 family groups purchase them.
Okay. And do you think if they, and I know that you can't do this, but do you think that part of what's prohibitive about the annual membership is that you have to pay it all at one time?
No, I don't. I think the reason we don't sell as many is that people don't go to the pools 20 times a year. They go 6 or 8 or 10 times, and then they go on vacation, and then they go hiking or something else. There are, of course, kids that go every day all year, but I think the reason we sell fewer than you might expect is that swimming is a part of your summer activities, not the primary activity.
So can you go over your fee schedule again? If you don't do the annual and you just do a daily, what's it going to cost?
The aquatic centers, we're asking that the youth rate go from $4 to $5, and adults go from $5 to $6. At the smaller pools, it's 3 to 4 for people under 16 and 4 to 5 for adults for a daily pass.
And that's per day?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember James.
Thank you, thank you, Vice Mayor. Jerry, sorry. Good recommendation that I just heard is to get the word out about the scholarships to the community centers right now, so we can actually have the youth that are attending the after school or other types of programming. I don't even know if the staff would even be able to go ahead and accept application there instead of them having to go out to Pick-a-Dome to do that. So if we had,
We
like
can
someone
provide
like
the
that.
applications. I'd prefer that they be brought to us so there's not 16 people looking at their personal information. But we can make the forms available widely.
That trip out to Pick-a-Dome's a bit, is it Pick-a-Dome where they have to bring it?
They don't actually have to bring it, they just have to mail it to us or put it in an envelope at a pool or get it to us. I just don't like the idea of a person's income information being passed around from person to person. They
Okay.
could mail it or put it in the interoffice mail, or they could give
Okay.
it to Bob Owsley
Okay, that
and he
might
could put it
work.
in an envelope and get it to us.
Okay, can you help to coordinate that?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank
I
you.
will.
And Vice Mayor, I'd like to propose an amendment to the motion on the floor. I'd like to propose an amendment that we retain the youth fees as they currently are and go with the proposed adult fees as presented in the mayor's budget.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to retain the youth fees as they currently exist, right? And to change to the adult fees at the proposed budget amounts. Okay.
That's the motion.
And there's a motion by Councilmember James, second by Councilmember Henson. Discussion on the motion, on the amendment. Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Jerry, can you give us a quick little rough calculation then about revenues and what the difference in the revenue picture would be, the impact? I mean, I know that
I have that information on my desk. I don't have the pool report with me that would tell me that. We count that every day. I know exactly what it is. I'm guessing that it's about 1/3 adults and about 2/3 youth
What I
on an
was
annual
meaning-
basis.
Okay, so impact-wise on the budget,
We were looking
If-
at 200,000. I'm going to stand here and estimate that 65,000 visits are going to be adults and 130,000 is going to be youth, approximately.
so there'd need to be a certain amount of money that's in the budget that would not,
If you adopted this, I'm going to
if this was...
assume that it's somewhere around $65,000 that would be reduced in revenue to us as a result of this motion.
And maybe Commissioner Cole has something to say.
I think what Jerry said was misstating, it would leave 66,000, but we would be losing the 130.
Okay, so
4,000.
instead of having 200 in the budget,
No, the adults is
200,000.
going to go up. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the youth is
a bigger
going
number,
down,
you're right.
yeah.
So we'd lose about 125, let's say.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Myers.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Again, I would just say that $145,000, swimming is one of it's not a basic service, but I think that's one of the most basic things that we can provide to children and families during the summer. And, if you look at that, if you had a family of 3, so you had one adult that went, even with the rates, the way this second motion is set up, that would be, if you went 5 days, or if you went 7 days, that's still, if you go 5 days, that's $30 for the adult to go swimming for 1 week. And then you've got $15 a day, or $15 a week for each of the children. So that's, $75 to go swimming for 1 week for a family of 3. And I think that's pricey. I think that some things we just need to absorb in our $270 million budget, and that swimming is one of those things. So while I appreciate the decrease and increase, I'm still not going to be able to support this motion either. Thank you.
Councilmember Feigl.
I have a question too, Jerry, if you don't mind. Would you define youth for me? Is there a certain age level that...
Youth are below the age of 16.
Below
16 and above are adults.
And there's a certain age where children should be accompanied by an adult?
Yes, under 2.
Under 2. So a 3-year-old, a 3-year-old can come to the pool unaccompanied?
No, I'm sorry. I don't recall exactly what that cutoff is. You think it's, I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. So it's 2 is too small. Huh? Okay. They can't park, yeah. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I just trying to decide. Jerry, I wasn't done.
He is.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The other question I wanted to ask too is that can kids bring in their own sandwich, their own drinks, or do they have to purchase them at the pool?
We asked them to purchase product where we have concession stands at Southland and Woodland.
But is there any prohibition from bringing?
We're not going to stop it. It's just too intrusive. We have vending machines at the rest of the pools, and that's not the best solution for folks either.
Okay.
But where we sell concessions, we ask that 2, 13, 2. Okay, please note that any minor under the age of 13 must be accompanied by a chaperone 16 or older. I'm
13.
sorry. I'm childless. What do I know about these things?
So really, 13 to 16 is about the group of kids that we're talking about.
They're the primary users, yes.
Yeah, that's the group of
Young
kids we're
teens.
talking about.
Yes.
And it's only $1 extra,
Yes, that's exactly right.
and they could actually mow a couple of lawns and earn $1.
I would hope.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Martin.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I guess I'll just sort of, so let Jerry rest a second, and we won't tax him anymore. But this is going to be so painful, and after 3 years of budget cuts, we're going to be faced with this in every single link that we face. I mean, this is, and we either have to raise revenue some way, or we've got to lay people off. I think that's where we are. So I just wanted to voice that, because it's we're having a light moment here with Jerry, but it is really difficult choices that we're facing. If, for example, here we have a choice where we have a $1 fee on folks where $1 means a lot in these times, but with 150,000 sort of in revenue, that's a couple people that are going to get laid off I guess we have to really dig in and sort of figure out how we're going to do this. So, Jerry, I appreciate your help, and I understand the difficult choices that we all have. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Just a reminder, we are engaged in discussion on the amendment to the motion. Okay. Councilmember Crosby.
Yes, I have a question regarding, maybe a technical question, if we can separate out the amendment, because I certainly would support the amendment. If the overall motion passes, I would like to vote yes on not charging the youth the extra $1 to try and help mitigate some of the cost of these families, but I don't know that I necessarily support the overall motion. So I was just wondering if it can be separated, or, because you can't really vote yes, no on one motion. On the amendment. But when we, okay.
Yeah, you can vote.
But if the amendment passes, then it's part of the overall motion.
Right, exactly.
And can it be separated, I guess? I'll have to save that for that motion.
Okay, I don't see anybody else signed on for comment. Are we ready to vote on the amendment then? All in favor of the amendment, please indicate by saying aye. All opposed, no. All right, let's do it electronically. All who are in favor, please indicate by saying
Please state
aye.
the motion, please.
The amendment is to retain the current cost or the current charges for youth, and to adjust the future charges or the charges that have been proposed for adults, to adjust to the new charges. Right.
That's why I was asking if it could be.
You can reset. Yeah. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, wait a second. I just want to make sure I'm clear. If I vote, will there be? It's not. That's what I was trying to say. It's not the final motion.
The amendment, right.
I'm a yes.
Okay. All right. The amendment then passes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right. All right. Now, back to the motion. The motion as amended. Is there a discussion on the motion as amended? Councilmember Blues.
I think just a technical point, but I think we need to amend it to say as of May 29th. That would be the starting point for the rate increase.
Okay. Is that clear to everyone? Jeanette, you got that? Thank you, ma'am. All right. Are we ready for a vote? All right. Can we? All right. All right. The motion as amended is to endorse the fees as proposed in the mayor's proposed budget, as amended by Councilmember James' motion, which is to retain the fees for youth, retain the current fees for young people, the youth, and to adjust the fees to the proposed mayor's numbers. Well, that's what Jerry just, okay. That's the motion. So we've got a question.
I've got an issue about that. We amended it. Now we're going to go back and vote on it as amended.
As amended.
And if you don't agree with that, then you vote no on the whole thing.
Point of order.
Which it doesn't fit. No, it doesn't.
Vice Mayor, we've already started voting, so I think that at that point.
All right, I tried to explain the motion that was requested, all right? So is the motion clear?
I wasn't cutting off Councilmember Beard, but I just, some of us have already voted, and I think it can't really change at that point.
Let's continue voting.
Well, if you voted at your own peril.
Yeah, we're voting.
Come on.
All right, the motion fails as amended.
We can't raise. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, another motion.
I make a motion to keep the pool fees the same as they are this year as of May the 29th. Because if we don't, they're going to stay in the budget. Because the motion was to approve the fees. They're going to stay in there. We got to take them out somehow and vote in the positive. Everybody understand that?
Don't go there.
Why don't you, Councilmember Stannett, can you restate that motion?
Make a motion in the positive that we keep the fees as they are, no changes for this upcoming pool season, beginning May 29th. So moved.
There's a motion by Councilmember Stannett, second by Councilmember Ellinger, to keep the pool fees. Well, you got the first one over here. All right. We're going to get to discussion. Jeanette made a mistake. All right. Floor is open for discussion.
You have to vote. We didn't pass anything. You have to pass something.
Councilmember James.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Stennett, is your motion is to keep it at the FY10, right? Okay, thanks.
Is there discussion? Councilmember McCord.
Just as a point of clarification, Jerry, that equates to roughly $200,000 that is now needed to be made up somewhere else in the budget, just so everybody's clear that by putting it in and accepting it at this level, that we've basically need to find $200,000 of cuts somewhere else in the budget to make that happen. Is that a fair statement? Okay. I just want to make sure we're all clear.
Question.
Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And so, Jerry Southers, I trust you're keeping track of each of these revenue items and will give us an update sometime next week. Thank you.
A question.
Councilmember Feigl.
Just for my own clarification, if we have to make up the $200,000, does that come out of this particular link, or can this be spread across the entire budget? Okay. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to ask a question in a few minutes about what the numbers were last year, just to confirm how the process was engaged. And I'm glad Bill's still here, because we can demonstrate that in a budget of overall $500 million, yes, $270 million in the general fund, when we're still using a crystal ball, we've got latitude. Councilmember Crosby.
Thank you. I just want to confirm maybe with Commissioner Rumpke, if if we approve, do we have to approve this motion? Do I understand correctly that if we do not, that the numbers are built in to the budget with the fee increase, so by approving the mayor's budget, say we approve the mayor's proposed budget and we don't vote to keep the fees the same, then we will be voting for the fee increase with the final approval of the budget?
That would be correct.
So this motion is necessary to ensure that it's taken out of the mayor's proposed budget, and we're not, because our intention is not to
raise the fees.
Right.
So you would need to take action in order to take it out of the mayor's proposed budget. At least that's how it's been explained to me.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understood correctly.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And this would be that action, right, what we're doing now? Okay, thank you.
More discussion? All right, we're ready for a vote. All in favor of the motion, as stated, please indicate by voting aye. Motion carries. All right. Take up to Mr. Stinnett.
I have one additional revenue item that we had a public hearing on, like the municipal aid program. Who has the background information on this money? Because we were handing out a sheet with a surplus in it. And is there anyone here that can explain this? I think council needs to be very understanding of two things. One, the major road improvement money, which is what Councilmember Martin's been looking at, the paving money, is only 1.5 million. It's usually around 1.9 to 2 million, and labor costs on both of them have changed. What I feel is increased. So we need to make sure what we're funding with our gas tax money, which is the municipal aid money, because if it looks like we're putting 2/3 of it into salaries and only 1/3 of it on the street. And did you prepare this sheet tonight?
I did not.
So do we know who did?
Do you have a copy of it?
This is the sheet we all got during the public hearing, the municipal aid money.
Yeah, it's a duplication of page 306 of your
Right.
budget book. Yes. I didn't prepare it, but it was prepared in budgeting.
So we're saying we're going to have a $4 million surplus in this fund at the end of this fiscal year? Is that what that's saying?
That is the way that engineering has, and streets and roads and traffic, I believe, have proposed for these funds to be spent.
Wait just a minute. Wait just a minute. Mr. Stinnett. Yeah. This is a special meeting of the
revenue. This is revenue
For
discussion.
Yeah, it's
All right.
revenue.
It's all part of our revenue
All right,
numbers.
that question was asked about, point of order was, okay, go ahead.
It's all part of the revenue. This is the only thing we haven't discussed or approved in revenue.
All right, fine.
But we need information on this, on why we have a fund balance in there this year and why we're planning on keeping one.
I can certainly
You can get that for us. I'm
get
not
that
asking
back.
you. I'm
Yeah,
just saying-
I mean, this is how they
Oh.
propose for the funds to be spent, but we can certainly get more information on is there a strategic plan to get
Oh, and
more
the history
significant.
on it, how much of it has always gone to personnel? Because there's a lot more to
Okay.
personnel this year than has been in the
Okay,
past.
we can certainly get that for you.
All right, thank you.
All right. We can take up the revenue, confirming the revenue projection, if council is willing to do that tonight.
Vice Mayor,
Yeah.
is that on our agenda?
Well, you had said earlier.
We never finished at the last meeting. We all said to carry it forward to this meeting.
I was asking if it was on the agenda.
It should have been.
Thanks.
It was on the schedule of meetings under the 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock meetings. All of that was listed, capital and revenue and everything. So it was listed on schedule of meetings.
So is there any, is there a motion or is there discussion regarding the revenue, the revenue number?
Vice Mayor?
Councilmember Ellinger.
I guess if we're going to do that, we need to kind of see where we stand. We should kind of add up where we are. And have they been doing a running total at this point? Do we have a
I
number?
think we've approved it all but the 200,000.
So, I guess just let's have a number so we know what we're approving.
$269 million, and we have to add.
Basically, up to now, you've approved everything except the $200,000 for the pool fees, so that's really the only exception. And as I say, as we go along in the process, this will just be a makeup. And, from the links and all the recommendations from council, you'll have your pluses and minuses. And at some point, there'll be a net number that you'll have to make up.
This is the way last 3 years, my experience has been, this is the protocol that we've used.
Yes,
Last year, we started at a number. Bill, you might be able to help you. Sorry, you're in the background there. But Jerry, you probably can too. We started at, seems like it was 278 million.
That sounds about right.
And we ended up at 280. And then we adjusted it down to 269. We adjusted it down to 268 when the shortfall was identified, right? Okay. So that's to say that there is flexibility in this number. There always is. If you need to adjust it, right. I mean, the word rigid does not apply in this.
Yes. At this point, we have to make up $200,000 from either increase in revenue from some source or reducing expenditures. That's been the process.
You got a question?
I do.
Councilmember, okay, Councilmember Henson's, and then Councilmember, go ahead and indicate on your monitor.
I was curious as to what's going to happen with the Avon Golf Course. Will that generate revenue? Will that break even?
What I heard earlier was that they think they can make some money during the summer months and at least break even.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember James.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm a little bit confused. Are we looking right now? Are we supposed to be looking right now for the revenue? Because I thought we did that at the end of all budget link report outs for any gaps, or I'm confused of what we're doing right now.
Explain, Jerry.
Well, the question was asked if anyone was capturing the decisions that were being made. The answer to that would be yes. And where we were at the end of the discussions is $200,000 of the total revenue has not been accepted. Out of a $269 million budget, only $200,000. So that portion, I mean, you don't do it now. We haven't done it at this point. When we get all of the feedback, all the recommendations from the links, then we get them listed and we vote them, each one of them up or down on what you want to do. Plus, part of the recommendation would be how you make up this $200,000.
Right, if we need to at that point, because by the time we vote up or down,
You may not have
could have
to.
captured our
That's right.
200,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Through all the recommendations from the links, you may have a net increase from, expense reductions, proposed expense reductions or whatnot. So somewhere through there, you're going to come up with a net number from individual council recommendations, from the links recommendations. And you're right, normally we've waited at the end to see where we were, to see what we had to do.
Okay, so I'm confused as to why we're having a revenue discussion at this
All right.
point. I don't know why.
And we don't need we don't need any adoption of a revenue number now. We have in the past. Sometimes we don't have to tonight. Right?
We've already done it last meeting. As
All right,
Councilmember
fine.
James said, we went through it all.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Is there anything else we need to do tonight?
Are we meeting, our next meeting is May 25th at 1?
Oh, we need to talk about the public safety links. Councilman Ellinger had said that you would be willing to adjust.
I'll do
Your
whenever.
time.
I can do it right now. I can do it whenever y'all want to. I'm prepared, but I can do it at noon on the 25th, or they talked about doing it at 5 o'clock on the 25th. So, whatever.
Let's just continue in order at 1 o'clock and go through what we can get through and then stay in order.
I plan on being about like 10 minutes like Councilmember McCord was, so.
Okay.
Just keep our schedule. Yeah, just keep our same schedule for now.
What if everybody brought a
On your mic.
sandwich in? And
You tucking your mic?
Yeah, what if everybody brought in a sandwich at noon and we start at 12 o'clock and we could eat our sandwich while we're here? Oh, you can't?
No, Linda can't be, Councilmember Gordon can't be here at noon.
Never mind.
All right, so we're good with the,
Question.
we're good at the regular schedule.
1 o'clock.
All right, is there a motion? Councilmember Crosby?
So are we, is the intention that if we do not finish, that we'll stay after a work session at 5, like we'll just recess like we did today and finish it? If we do not, hopefully we'll get done, but if we don't, is that our intention to stay on schedule and finish?
Try to.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, no. We are adjourned.
You got dinner?